Okay, welcome to Scorpion TV, episode 16. First game we're playing today is Varg by Schwefelhofer. Schwefelholger. Apologies if I've mangled that pronunciation. It is a game for Mega Drive. I'm pretty sure I haven't had it on the stream before, so I thought it might be a good time to finally show it. It's sort of a game like Celeste or Super Meat Boy, one of those very tricky single screen platformers, or mostly single screen, and I am playing it within Scorpion Box. Just check. Let's check my volume mixer. I'll make sure that's down to. You'll have to let me know if the volume's too loud or too quiet for the game itself. Now, what's it going to look like in full screen on the stream? Hopefully that's looking okay. It looks like it's left aligned it. In fact, I think it's frozen. Might be some bug with Scorpion Box I need to fix. Let's go out of full screen. Yeah, okay, so there's some streaming bug that I need to fix when Scorpion Box is in full screen. Full screen, it seems. Do let me know if my microphone is coming through and that you know, it's clear and it's not being overwhelmed by the not being overwhelmed by the game music. Okay, according to level, sound is okay, that's good. Right, so just as I mentioned, this is running in Scorpion Box. A bit later in the stream I'll explain all about what Scorpion Box is, but it's essentially a multi-system single game emulator that you could use to do PC or Mac releases of well, I mean, it obviously doesn't have to be a Scorpion game. It can be any, you know, pretty much any game that you can run on an emulator. Just gonna try putting it in full screen again. No, that is very weird. It doesn't like full screen. I'll have to investigate that. Maybe it was because I didn't start the game in full screen that that OBS doesn't seem to like it being in full screen. Okay, I could test that theory later. So Flivel asks a wrapper of sorts. Yes, that's exactly what Scorpion Box is. So it uses it uses libretro under the hood. So libretro is a plugin system for emulators. So you've got libretro cores for a whole bunch of systems. You even have libretro cores for game engines like Quake, or I think the Cave Story game engine might have been one of them. But the idea is that, so a libretro core only does, like, basically the chipset emulation. So it you know, it'll do the CPU and the graphics, like, you know, emulate the graphics on the machine, but it won't do any operating system sort of things. It won't do anything like, oh, keep messing that up. It won't render any graphics by itself. It will output like a an array of pixels, and then with that array of pixels, your wrapper around libretro will then render it to the screen. So I'm using monogame to wrap around. I am using monogame to wrap around libretro. Monogame is a .NET game framework. It's basically like it was designed to be a replacement for XNA. Actually, I don't know if that's quite fair, because I think monogame was in development before they cancelled XNA, but it's basically an open version of XNA, so it allows for... I mean, it's basically a way of developing games with C#, and because it's not an engine, it's because it's just a framework, and because it's open source, it doesn't have any of those issues that, you know, you would get with Unity, where, you know, you're supposed to pay once you get above a certain number of sales, etc., etc. Hey Tedzo, welcome to the chat. So this game is called Varg. This is a Mega Drive game, written in Scorpion Engine, and it is written in Scorpion Box, which I'll explain a bit about later on. So this game is even harder than Pooperino, but you do have infinite lives, and you don't have to worry about running out of coins. And yeah, this is only for Mega Drive, but I would really like to see a Amiga version of it as well. This bit here feels like Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Oh, this bit. Oh, close. Yeah, I think I gotta fall down and then wait. Oh, no. Fall down, wait, run, do another jump. Okay. Now, so far so good. I sometimes screw up at that last bit. Flowell says, given you can't die, a timer to see how fast you complete it would be cool. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that this is only a demo version, but hopefully the full game will have something for speedrunners like that. Now, how am I going to get rid of that bee? Yeah, I think I just need to... Yeah, okay, so it wasn't too difficult to dodge it. I can't remember... one of these is a trap. I think I might have gone the wrong way, but I do remember I found that if you go the wrong way there, then it loops around too earlier. Or maybe it wasn't. No, I think this is the right place to go, but this bit here was really hard. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get past it. Oh, okay, first time. So I just cheesed it, because last time I played it, I sort of had to time it perfectly, but that time I just sort of managed to speed run through it somehow. So I just got lucky. Rediject says as long as it counts up and not down. Fair enough, or a death counter. Yeah, I think sometimes games like this have like a you know, you have to beat the whole thing in one life, which is, you know, insanely difficult, and then only like 0.1% of people can do it. But it is a cool feature to have for games like this. Oh. Yeah, I remember getting stuck on this one for ages. Whoop. So yeah, fortunately I have had a bit of whoop. No, screwed that up. I have had a bit of practice on this one. Hi, Acid Bottle. Welcome to the chat. We are playing Varg by Schwefelholger, I think is the pronunciation, or something like that. And it's a game for Mega Drive, and we are running it in Scorpion Box. Oops. I messed that up. I think it may as well. Oh. Right, let's. Yep. So, Acid Bottle Observe. This looks brutally difficult, which is, yeah, absolutely. So it is, it's a sort of game like, what's next? Oh, yeah. I'll have to try to kill that bat thing, but I can never get the timing right. Oh, I'm so kill myself since I missed the elevator. But yeah, it's like, you know, Super Meat Boy or Celeste, just those sorts of really difficult, you know, retro-style games. Although this one is a true retro game in the sense that, you know, it's Mega Drive. Yep. Okay, yep. It's also retro in the sense that I don't think there's any levels that are 8-way scrolling. Like there's horizontal scrolling and vertical scrolling, which I think, yeah, sort of quite closely mimics the NES, where I think you couldn't easily, like, you could easily scroll in one direction, but you couldn't easily scroll in both. Oh, Acid Bottle congratulated me for Scorpion Engine. Thank you very much. Sorry, not Scorpion Engine, Scorpion Box. Is the newest component of Scorpion Engine project. But yeah, so I am happy with progress on it. There are some things I really need to work out, like why the video freezes up when I run it in full screen on OBS. I'm hoping it's just that OBS was confused about me changing the screen resolution at real time. Actually, maybe that's it. Maybe I've accidentally messed something up so that it doesn't. So Scorpion Box should, you know, when it's in full screen, it should be the native resolution of the. Should be the native resolution. Maybe it isn't for some reason. Maybe it's trying to scale it down, and then it that confuses OBS. I'm not sure. Whoa. Okay, I've got to. How am I going to do this? Okay, I think I can jump up. Whew, okay. Headzoke says I have to manually change resolution and OBS when I change resolution. Ah, that could be it, yep. So, I'll make sure with the next update, well, I'll try to make it so that on the next update to Scorpion Box I can switch to full screen at runtime without updating the video. Yep. So remember this. Whoop. Remember this level being brutally difficult as well. One of the cool things about this Slash is that it, you know, it does interrupt gravity so that, makes it easier to jump back. Yeah. Oh. Okay, I was able to squeeze in. Okay, now one of these ones... yeah, one of these ones, your jump's got to be pixel perfect. Flibble says, how does Scorpion Box deal with Amiga floppies? So the short answer is it supports one-disc games easily. Multiple disc games, I don't know. It uses PUAE as the core, and the core does support multiple disc games. But I've never tried to get that working in Scorpion Box. It might be possible, or it might not be. But, I mean, that's something we'll solve sooner or later anyway. If it doesn't currently support multiple floppies, we will fix that. Messing up the timing. With floppies in Scorpion Box, you just point it to the ADF, and it will know what to do with it. If it's like a hard drive game that, you know, you start from startup sequence, then you have to provide it a zip, and it will see the zip and it will know that it's meant to be a hard drive. So it will then extract it. Okay, that was better. I've got to watch out for that B. Oh, now this bit is a brutal because, well, you got that, but oh, so the thing about that the moving platform at the bottom is it doesn't come back, so I can't let it get away from me. Ah, so close. That does remind me, one feature that I don't have in Scorpion Box yet is save states. So save states is something I want to add sometime in the future, maybe not even this year, maybe in a couple of years, as I want to look at rollback netcode. And so how that would work is that for multiplayer, like online multiplayer, it would record everyone's inputs, and if like the inputs get received late or they get received back out of order, what it will do is it will rewind time on the emulator and then play it through again, but with those corrected inputs. And so what it means is that, you know, sort of instead of everyone having the... Oh, no, that was bad. I think this is the last level of the demo anyway, or it's not far from the last level if it's not. But I'll play it for another 5-10 minutes and then we'll move on. Something I can't guarantee this because yeah, I haven't really I haven't really tested how it would work. But I did want to add something where to Scorpion Box where you can push a button to start recording your inputs, and then make it so you can play it back in Scorpion itself. And so the point is, like, you know, because a lot of games that, you know, of the era, maybe even most of them, if you didn't push anything on the start screen after a few seconds, it would start playing a rolling demo. It's a bit difficult to do rolling demos because you need a way of, you know, recording input and playing back input. Yeah, exactly. So Flibble says a track mode. So being able to use Scorpion Box to record your inputs so that Scorpion itself can play them back. Oh, okay. So this is where things get a bit dicey. Oh, god damn it. Nearly at the end, and then I die at the easiest bit. Okay. Ah! Just a bit too slow with the timing. I'm usually too fast with the timing. Okay, Koju says, I'll let you guess what I am literally working on as type this, but track modes did not always include a full gameplay demo. Most included a high score table, some included how to play, especially NeoGeo titles. Yeah, that how to play, like, it wasn't... I think most NeoGeo titles did, like, a custom how to play, but there was a built-in system used by Nam and some other games where, like, it was basically part of the BIOS. There was some code for handling, the how to play and rendering it. Scorpion does not support that yet, but it's something I could definitely look at. Okay, let's ooh. Okay, now this is where things get dicey. Oh! Damn it. That's a good question. No. So Ted Zog asked if you can increase your jump length or height by using a slash. No, it does. Unfortunately, like even though you can sort of keep moving after the slash, it doesn't make it any longer. It makes it slightly shorter even. Oh, no, messed that up. Okay, I think 5 more minutes and then I will call it quits. The other thing that might have been confusing OBS is that this is an OpenGL build of the game rather than DirectX. I don't know if that can confuse OBS. No. Okay. Ah! Oh, damn, I can't believe I messed up that timing that bad. Okay, let's, phew. Oh! I didn't mean to land on the platform again, I meant to fall down, but, oh. No, I shouldn't try to speedrun this, I should just try to... Need to pay attention. The thing about that gap there is I think it's as big as the gap that I have to cross later, or a similar size, but because you don't get a long run-up, it's a bit difficult to get the timing right. Because you're only looking at the run cycle for a few frames before you have to make the jump, if that makes any sense. So if I had a longer run-up, that would make the timing easier, I think, but because it's such a short platform. Okay. Okay, alright, so far so good. Oh no! Okay, I know what I screwed up there, because I thought I was going to get trapped in the alcove above it, but so I tried to avoid getting to the alcove, but that meant that I missed the platform at the bottom. But I don't think I can even fit in that alcove, so maybe I should just pretend it's not there and just try to get in the on the platform. Whoa. Oh, shit. Have I messed up the timing? I might have messed up the timing. Oh, no. Oh, God, thank God. Okay, so I finished it. GG. Right, okay, so that was Varg by, I do apologize if I, mess up this pronunciation again, Schwefelholger. Oh yeah, and that was a Christmas demo. I guess this, a couple of months late, but I guess this is kind of an unofficial Christmas stream, because that was a game released on Christmas Day, and then this is another Christmassy game. So Dasher is by Camden Town Game. It's a very simple game. I think he said it's actually a port of a game that he made in Scratch language. But it is, you know, one of those cute and charming games, and I think it was actually one of the rare Amiga games released. Well, one of the rare Christmas games for Amiga released this year that was actually, you know, cute and wholesome and not, you know, violent and sweary. But yeah, so there's not too much to it, so, you know, it makes it, oh, game over. Makes it appropriate for, you know, younger children. Actually, I was going to, I'll use Dasher as an example of what we can do with Scorpion Box. So, so this is what our configuration looks like. we can change the title here. So, for example, if I go Dasher by Camden Town Games, I think that's how you spell it. If I then run it, so you see, title's changed. Regarding the icons, you should be able to change those with resource editors. I might need to add something else so that you can change the the icon in the corner there. But the intent is you should be able to basically white label a game. You should be able to upload this to Steam or Epic or whatever as as your own game, as not something that is Scorpion branded. I'm just going to try starting it in full screen to see if that makes any difference to OBS. Probably not, but I'll see what happens. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's coming through on the stream. So that's okay. That's just something we need to see if we can fix it. I should be able to test it offline if I use OBS just to record to my desktop. But for now, we just got to remember if we're doing a stream, we don't want to put it in full screen mode. Now, so in fact, I'll zoom in there so it's a bit easier to see on the stream. So we've got 3 cores, and I've said I want a PUAE, but this game is also for Mega Drive, and so we will set it to blast them. If we have a look at our games folder, we've actually got the bin file for Mega Drive and a zip file for Amiga, and the Amiga yeah, so it has just a startup sequence, and that's all it really needs to run. But you could, instead of a zip file, you could do an ADF, for example. Okay, so what was I? Oh yeah, so I was going to run it and blast them. Let's see if so. Hi Cammy, welcome to the stream. So we're just testing Dasher by Camden Town Games. And we're also testing out Scorpion Box, which is intended to be a way of distributing Scorpion games, or even any sort of game we can emulate on modern platforms like Steam, Windows, Mac, maybe even consoles like Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, because Scorpion Box is open source, and so anyone can download the source code. It uses a monogame framework, and there are plugins for monogame for Switch and other modern consoles. So at least in theory, you could use Scorpion Box as a way to get your Amiga game on on Switch, or just modern platforms in general. And again, it doesn't have to be Scorpion Engine game. There's no reason why you couldn't use it for an Amiga game written in any other language or any other framework. Right, so I'll go back to config. So I just want to go over a few other last things. So retro device joypad. I probably should have a list of these, but it's set up by default to say, hey, we've got a joypad plugged in. For a mouse game, actually, having said that, Scorpion Box doesn't support the mouse yet, but you'd be able to put retro device mouse or something like that to have a mouse in that port, for example. We have got these keyboard mappings, and yes, so These are internally, libretro uses an abstraction based on the Super Nintendo controller, so these are all Super Nintendo button names, but it shouldn't be that difficult to get them to map to, say, CD32 buttons, for example. I've got a couple of keyboard bindings just for full screen for quit, and then underneath here we can mess around with all of the settings that for the UAE core, or the Geolith core is the NeoGeo one. But we could do things like, you know, if it was a floppy disk game, we could add like floppy disk sound. Um, yeah, I think that's all I had to say about Scorpion Box in the current configuration. Oh, one thing I did want to mention is that it should just work with any kind of joystick. Like, if it's got a D-pad and a couple of buttons, and you've got it plugged in when Scorpion Box starts, it should be able to handle that. It's not like FSUAE, where it won't read your joystick at all unless you've got a special configuration for that joystick. Ted Zog says no kickstart needed for releases on other platforms. Um, well, here's the thing. So, Scorpion Box uses the PUAE emulator, and by default, let's see if I can find the kickstart. Yeah, by default, we've got the kickstart set as AROS. And AROS is built into PUAE. AROS is free software. So if your Scorpion game will run on AROS, and pretty close to 100% of them should run on AROS, then your game will, yeah. So that's a way you can, right now for free, distribute your game, your Amiga game, with Scorpion Box, without any proprietary Calanto-owned kickstarts. All 100%, you know, free software. Now, the other thing I should mention in connection to that is, so we use, so Geolith is the NeoGeo emulator core that we have for Scorpion Box. Unfortunately, there's not really, well, I don't have a free software based solution for Geolith right now, because like with Amiga, the NeoGeo has proprietary ROMs, and also like with Amiga, there are some open source projects to replace them. I don't know if any of them are really mature enough to, you know, use to distribute your NeoGeo game, but that is something that I'm working on. There are things like, for example, one of the ROMs which is absolutely mandatory is just a lookup table of data, and since it's a lookup table of data, you can't really replace it with free software and then have it do the same result. So that is something we need to work around one way or another. The worst case scenario is we have a lookup table that is slightly different, and so the graphics might look slightly different on the Scorpion Box release versus the real NeoGeo hardware release. But that is something we may have to live with if it comes to that. Okay, well, I think that's all I wanted to say about, oh, now what did Ted Joke said, does it support save files as well for games that uses that? That's a good question. I have not tested that. Yeah, I have not tested that. I don't know what's going to happen. I suspect with a floppy game, it might just work because it's just got the ADF that it needs to to patch with the save data. With a hard drive game like this, like with Dasher, that we're running from a folder, I don't know, or from a zip, I don't know. It might patch the zip file, or it might put like the delta somewhere else. That's a good question. I need to think about that. I need to experiment. I do have a save game project for Scorpion, which is just a very simple game that has a high score table, and if you get a high score, it will save it. I should give that a comprehensive test to make sure it's going to work on Scorpion Box. And it may be that, okay, yes, some of the Scorpion Box or some of the Amiga configurations will work with saving, some of them won't. That is something we need to investigate. But yeah, it is very early days for Scorpion Box. I've only been working on it for about maybe a week or two. And so very early state. In fact, when I did last episode of Scorpion TV, I didn't have it running at all. So it is sort of mostly most of the work that's gone into it has been this week. Oh, and thanks. To Doug says good job so far. And yeah, hopefully it will just keep getting better and better. And Scorpion Box is open source. I'm hoping that for things that I haven't solved or haven't had time to solve, that someone can just, hopefully someone will jump in and say, hey, I've made this patch to improve Scorpion Box. Right. Well, I think that's good for, unless anyone has any last questions about Scorpion Box, I might move on to doing some workshop stuff. Okay, Acid Bottle says, what are you cooking up this week? Well, I had I have been talking with someone about making an on-screen UI. So, in the sense that making a UI out of actors. Now, with the NeoGeo and with the Mega Drive, that's not such a huge thing to do because you've got a native window layer on both of those platforms. It makes it a lot easier. But of course, for Amiga, if you want your score to overlap your game, that gets a bit harder. And also, I mean, even for Mega Drive and Neo Geo, you may still want to make your score out of actors if you want to do something fancy, like have them an odd size or have them moving around. So yeah, I'm gonna do it the way that I would do it. And maybe it might not be the most efficient way, or it might be the most efficient way, or um, hopefully it's not going to be too difficult to follow and easy enough to learn from. But let's start with I'm going to need a numbers font. Let's have a look. What? They got Roman numerals in their number font. That's pretty cool, but I'll grab that. And let's take a look at this. Wow. Now that's cool because you see it's got the the faint the fainter you know, where it's turned off. So I might grab that. Let's see what the spacing between. Yeah, okay, so okay, so that's a good size. So that's you know, well, it's smaller than 16. But it's 16 tools. So that, yeah, that's a good size. So let's oh, and we'll need to round that up. So yeah, so 16 times 10 equals 160. Let's so that we'll need to grab these colors out of here. Oh, in fact, let's get rid of. Oh, I've got to turn off contiguous, turn off anti-alias. I want this to be clean. Yep. Okay, that will do. I'll also want a background. I'll just. Or yeah, I just want something as a background. Something basic. Is that 16 by 16? Oh, 32 by 32. Is that going to be a problem? I probably should look for 16 by 16. Scorpion Engine says, I feel that. Sorry, Acid Bottle says, I feel that Scorpion Engine is kicking into the next year in 2026. Some cool projects in the works. Oh, yes, yes, for sure. And some of them, it's like, you know, I know about them because I've been showing them privately, and I'm thinking, wow, that would be so cool to, you know, be able to show off. But they're still secret. Some of them are like, I think the intention is to Kickstarter them, so they're, you know, not nearly ready for prime time. This one's pretty neat. Um, Having said that, I don't really need a full tile set. I just sort of need an image I can use as a background. Oh well, that's okay. No, those are the parallax layers. Oh yeah, I really just wanted that screenshot there. Can I be a bit cheeky and just grab it out of Lightbox? That one. Can I grab that directly? Okay, and then I might need to scale that down. Yeah, because I just wanted a background. It didn't need to be uh how big is. Okay, so that's scaled up by 2. So if I just do a pixel resize down to 50%. Yeah, that will do. So that will be my, how many colors is this actually? Wow. Man, that looks so good for 14 colors. That is so cool. I might have to see what I can do with that man, 14 colors for this tile set and all of the parallax bits, it seems. Although I don't know, maybe it's just this bit that's 14 colors, but that looks incredible. Um Anyway, so let's make our on-screen UI demo, and let's make a maps folder to put this in. Map, and I'm going to put this background. I can just run Scorpion here. I'm going to need to get that palette and then make that the main game palette, but I'm just going to set that up as my background. Oh, now I see. Yeah, this actually does have all the parallax layers in there. I mean, 16 colors. Like you could, you know, with AGA with dual playfield mode, and then like you Yeah, when I get dual playfield mode working, I'm gonna do. I want to do something with this to see how many layers of parallax I can get going by combining dual playfield with the sprite parallax. Oh, I need to make a new project. So let's put that in on-screen UI. I'll just call it project. And yeah, let's go for OCS. So we need our map, and all I'm gonna. Oh, in fact, I might as well just go generate map from PNG. That makes it nice and easy. Let's load our level. Change that down to 16 colors, and then oh, in fact, I need to change it to there. How is that going to look? Okay, so if I then overwrite my OCS palette file, how's that looking? Okay, that's looking good. And then I've got a couple of colors here I can use for my font. Let's just check that works. So that's just the first thing I want to check. Yep. No, that's perfect. We probably want to make it move around a bit. So that is only 256 wide, but the original was 320. So we can have it yeah, I mean I'll just have a level a I'll call it a let's call it player control. And all we're going to do here is we're just going to go display, and then camera position is going to be camera position camera X plus control 1X. And then we set that as our on timer for the map itself, so we don't have any actors yet. And yeah, so we just wanted some way of being able to move the screen around, nice and simple. Now where did I save my... No, I didn't save that. Okay, so I'll put that on the desktop. And then I'm gonna need to import that as a sprite sheet. So if I grab that, and yeah, 10 columns exactly. I only want one row, and let's save that under sprites. And number font. Sure. Okay, we want to rename that to numbers, A numbers. Okay, so that's given just I might as well align that so it's like yeah, let's do that. And I want to get I have to get those colors for the palette, because I've got space. Fortunately, I've got space on the palette to put in. So that's the main color for the. Well, that's very close to that one. I didn't even really need to bother, I guess. And then this color here. Of course, for any animation, I need an actor for it. Oops, I don't want to create a animation. I want to create an actor. And let's call it a number. And let's turn off so if I set the frame duration to 0, it means every frame is infinite. So that basically turns off the animation system basically, or prevents it from going any further, prevents it from going to the next frame. We want to set this as a camera lock because we want it locked. Yeah, I think that's a good position for like the first digit, and then we want 5, and we want 5 digits, at least 5 digits, and the reason for that is because we want to test that it works with long numbers. So if we have a 4-digit number like 767, then you see that is less than 6. That's less than 16 bits. But if we have like 99999, so 5 digits. 5 digits is always at least more than 16 bits, so that goes to the upper range. So we'll do 5 digits, although this system should work with any number of digits. Again, and this is not going to be particularly performant, so I would use this sparingly or not at all, or just on games that run at 25 hertz. Because the actors sort of have systems built in for the animation and for rendering to the background, and so it's kind of like having 6 digits. Was it 5 or 6 digits? Yeah, having 6 digits on the screen is going to actually, hang on. I think I still put in 5 digits that time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, okay, so that's a little more. So if we have 6 digits, that is way more than the 16-bit range, so that would be good target. So let's do some code here for spawning in fact, we can do a loop here. So let's declare I, and let's go condition. Let's go 4. So we want to do this 0 to 5. Yes. So since that's including 0, that's actually a total of 6, since it starts from 0 instead of 1. So we want to spawn in number. Now, because this is a camera lock, we don't set the usual position. We got to set the actor X and Y position. So if I go set variable, and then I want to go new, because we're setting new origin X. So that is going to be I times 16 plus 8, which is the top left. Well, from the left. We don't need to set the origin Y since it defaults as 8. That should give us that gives us digits, and it's still scrolling around okay. No problem with that. Yep, so that's looking good so far, but we haven't actually got a score yet. One thing I will do here is I'll also use one of the active vars. So an active var is a variable that is for a specific instance of an actor. So you would usually use it to score things like lives, or like health or ammo. But all 6 of those numbers have their own copies of the var variables. So this is setting all 6 of them to whatever I is in this loop. And Of course we need our score variable, so I'm just going to call it score. And I'm just going to hard code it to actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that so all of them should oh, in fact, I'll do it backwards, or do it a bit randomly. 6, 1, 5, 2, 4, 3. So that's all 6 digits in a bit of a random order. Acid Bottle says, so is that more performant than placing 9 separate actors on a map then? No, it's actually not, because, I mean, it's still, well, it's still 6 actors, but we're just spawning them in code so that, we can control this a bit more easily. Otherwise, we would have to use a template system, so we would, use the map, but instead of tiles, we would use templates to set some of those things. It's just easier to spawn them in code. Like, yeah, things like this, it's just easier to spawn them in code than try to put them in the map. And they don't really need to be in the map anyway, since they're not part of the level, they're part of the UI, if that makes sense. But anyway, so let's oh no, I should keep this a bit tidier. I'm going to make a folder called code, and I'm going to put all of my code in there, including my start code block. Whoops. And my new code block, I am going to call this refresh numbers. Or actually, no, this should be just refresh number, because I'm only refresh number. No, what I'm going to call this refresh score. And then, so when I go to here, I'm going to go base go to score or refresh score. Okay, so the thing about numbers is in memory they're stored in well, we basically need to extract all of the digits individually and put them in a variable. And so one way you could do that is using divide or modulus, but the problem is you run into issues with being above 16-bit, like I mentioned before. So we're simply going to use minus to extract all of the digits. So I'm going to start with I need to have a I'm just going to call this digits. So this is not going to be a variable, this is going to be an array. And how many digits? We've got 6 digits. And then I need a variable, and I'm going to call this something like score, or yeah, I'm just going to call it score temp. It doesn't matter if the naming is not super elegant. Well, oh, now did I? Okay, so problem here is that that really should be. Is that a compile time error? No, it's not. Okay, so that's something I should fix. Is that should be compile time error, because I've said I want a word, but that's bigger than the word range. So so that shouldn't actually compile. That's a bug that it lets me compile. So I'm going to change that to long. And then yeah, score temp. And then I'm going to go base set variable score temp to matching my score. Then I'm just gonna need to do this a bunch of time. Oh, actually, I can do a quick loop here, because I need to clear the digits. Set digits I to 0. I do need to add a proper like a command that will quickly clear an array or quickly set an array to a specific value, but this will do just to get the digits empty. That's actually not as fast as like manually doing set digit 1, set digit 2, set digit 3, but it's a little bit more elegant. So the next thing I need to do is I need to have some conditions. And so I'm going to say while score temp is greater than or equal to 4, 5. So that should be 6 digits. That's 6 digits. In fact, this could be made a lot more elegant because I could have a loop that goes through this, but we'll keep it simple. Because we need to set our score temp to score temp minus 2, 3, 4. Yep. And we also need to set our first digit to being digits 0 plus 1. We could make that a little bit more elegant by, you know, putting that well, we could make it a little bit more performant if we, you know, have that outside of you know, as a separate variable rather than just increasing that array, but that's okay. And we need to do that like 6 more times. Koju Waspis, I ran into this issue the other week with all those questions about variables. I wasn't sure specifically what you meant, but if you've got, do let me know if there's something you're not quite clear about, and I'll see if I can help you out. But yeah, and then all we need to do is we'll do that a bunch more times. And again, in some cases it might be a little bit faster to use modulus, but this does support, you know, any number of digits. Though modulus is very, very slow on very, very slow on the 68K processor. And then just need to do this. Actually, I only need to do this one more time, so I can go that. And then the last one, I don't need to do that loop. I can just, straight away, I can just go set digits 5 equals score temp. Because by that stage, it's going to be SMTM. Now I just realized, because I'm sort of mixing and matching, like this digits is going to be like a word array. In fact, I should set it to byte array actually, but I'm hoping that I haven't got any bugs where it's going to get confused about long versus byte versus word, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So that all that is going to do is it's going to populate our array of digits with, you know, each digit. Koji was being able to compile, but there's a number above 32767 set to word variable. Yeah, that's something I should have thought of, as what happens if someone tries to define a variable as being out of range. So that is something that is something I'll just need to fix. Okay, so we've got our digits in the you know, in that array, but we still need to render them. So I'm going to make a new code block, and I'm going to call this render score, or render number. We'll call it render number. And this is going to be a very, very simple command. It's just going to go actor animation. Just going to set it to a numbers, and then frame is just going to be digits, and then actor var1, and that's it. And then all we need to do here is the very last thing we need to do is oh, and the reason why we're not running this every frame is because there is a bit of overhead with telling the animation system, hey, I want to change what animation we're playing or what frame we're playing, but this way we never sorry, this way we never touch the animation system except when we do need to change it. So I'm just going to go, the base is going to be, no, sorry. Got to go condition, and then let's do a for each, and then for each actor type, left variable actor type. Okay, because the actor type has to be our number. Yes. So for each actor type, we go refresh score. The reason why we go for each actor type of that's a problem. What's for each actor type? Oh, sorry, it has to be equals. Okay, so I was wondering why it didn't show up. Yeah. Okay, so actor type equals number. I was wondering why it wasn't showing up the number there, and well, it wasn't showing that actor type there. It was because I had that set as not 0. I think I probably should change it so that equals is the default comparer for the for each. Hi Mixel, welcome to the chat. You've missed a whole bunch of stuff on Scorpion Box and the games we were just playing, and now just working on-screen UI. And I think we're ready to test. Oh, it crashed somehow. Okay. That's not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. What on earth did I do wrong? Oh, in fact, it could be a okay, so let's yeah, that's indicates a bug with there could be a bug with Scorpion in general. Let me just check refresh A numbers. Okay, so problem with rendering number for each actor where actor type equals, and that's what I've called it. Okay, so let's turn that back on. Let's I wonder if it's something like the number is out of range. That could be that. Yeah, that's probably it. I've probably messed it up somewhere where it is no. Oh, no, that was my fault. That should have been rendered number. So I had that as refresh score, and so it was just doing this constantly over and over again. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's try that again. I still think that shouldn't have crashed it because that was oh, actually no, it would have, yeah, would have crashed it because it would have yep. Okay, so that is our that's our on-screen UI. And let me just check that that score is exactly what I said it was going to be. Yep. 615 234 243. But it doesn't really, it's not really any use if it's, you know, just a hard-coded number. So let's Let's do a let's do a oh, in fact, no, let's make this a condition, and we're just going to say if control one, um, uh, control one, fire or buttons. Yeah, I'll just go for control one fire. Then I will say base, and then I'm just going to go set variable, and then I'm going to go score. Go score plus. I'm going to go plus 9999 because that way it's going to, change a bunch of the digits. So, and then I will want to go base and then go to, and then I want to do my refresh score. So this code only runs when I've actually changed the score, because we don't need to refresh the score every frame. Well, we don't need to refresh those numbers every frame if we're not if we're not updating the score every frame. Go. Yep. So yep, that's because we've got control one fire. If I change that to yeah, so the reason that went up sorry, because we got auto fire set, so that's why it was increasing massively. All I need to do is if I change the controls and I go attack controls and then yeah, have auto fire turned off, then I can just tap to add it. Oh, maybe not. Why? Oh no, that's because yeah, because that's specifically for a an actor. That's not going to work with the raw. Yeah, so it was stupid of me to use control one fire. I should have just used control one hit buttons, and then I can map that to. I can do a bit test, and then I can make sure our CD32 red, or should I go fire one? Yeah, bit test for Amiga fire one, and that should work if I just tap. Yep. So so every time I tap fire, I'm adding 999 to it. Flibble wanted me to test 3, which I can do that. And yeah, well, we're nearly an hour and a half into my stream, which is usually about how long my streams are. Yep, sounds good. Are you still around, Mixels? Thank you very much, Flibble. Yep, no worries, Mixels. Well, I wanted to show you a little bit about Scorpion Box just while I've already covered it on the stream, so I'm not going to go super in depth with it, but I did just want to show you it. But yeah, so this is running Scorpion Box. This is this is the Mega Drive version. So yeah, this game was released on Mega Drive and Amiga. All we need to do to mess around with the that configuration, if we've got configuration text, I can then, I can then change this to anything. So I can just say dasher game, for example. I can uncomment the PUAE and then comment blast them so that it runs on the Amiga emulator. There's all sorts of settings here for which keys you want to use for keyboard to joystick, and tons and tons and tons of options for PUAE for changing what CPU you want, what chip RAM you want, etc., etc. And so if I run it again, it is now running in Amiga, and you can tell it's Amiga because it takes a bit longer to load, and also, the resolution's a bit different. But yeah, so that's all there really is to it. And it should just work with any joystick, or any standard joystick, which is something we couldn't really work out with FSUAE. If we go into games, so you see, so dasher.bin is the Mega Drive version, and then dasher.zip is the Amiga version, and we just look into it, and it's just it's just a hard drive setup. So we've got a startup sequence here, and that's all it needs to do to run the game. Yeah, and oh yeah, so yeah, just again, so Scorpion Box, I've only bundled it for Windows. I've done a little bit of testing on Mac. I'm hoping to get, maybe this week I'll get Mac bundled as well. It's all open source, so if you find it on my GitHub, you can do anything you want with it. It's all I think I've put Scorpion Box under MIT license, but if you're going to mess around with the cores and things, you will need to check the you will need to check the the license. One thing I got caught out with is some of these cores, like all of these cores are open source, some of them are non-commercial. I think all of these ones here you can use for commercial purposes. They'll need to double check Geolith. But yeah, if you're going to release, if you use a different core than the ones I've included, you'll need to check the license if you're going to do anything like put it on Steam, or put it on itch but then charge for it. Mixels asked, is it support 4 players? It should do. So you can see here, I've only configured it for player, well, player 0, so that's, the first player. I've only configured it for the first joystick. Well, for keyboard for one player. If you wanted to do something like, another player, you'll be able to do that, for example. But, again, it should just work with USB controllers. I haven't got anything in place to say, okay, well, if you've got 2 USB controllers, then this becomes player 3. That's probably something I should do, but I'll worry about that. I will worry about that later. Mixer says this is super handy for itches. Obviously, don't have a proper Amiga category. Yeah, that's fair enough. Oh, and yeah, the other thing. So I did mention you can change the title here. If you want to change the icon, you should be able to just use a resource editor to change that icon, change that name. I haven't investigated yet. I may need to implement something to change the little taskbar icon. And yeah, and so the other thing is, like, I've only really been working on this a week, so there's a lot of things I'll need to improve and fix. I did mention on stream earlier, I only discovered at the last moment, if I put Scorpion Box into full screen, then OBS won't stream it, so I need to work out why. And maybe I can do something where it's kind of like a windowed full screen, where it doesn't actually change the resolution, but it does make Scorpion Box fit the whole screen. These are all things that I need to spend some time investigating. Kaiju Wasp says, you certainly work lightning fast. Oh, thank you very much. Although To be fair, with Scorpion Box, a lot of it is just sort of taken off the shelf from other places. Like, I mean, obviously Lib Retro, that is an existing project. It's a very cool project that has existed for a long time. That has a bunch of cores. You know, Mono Game has existed for a very long time. There was a wrapper for Mono Game already for running Lib Retro, but I had some issues with that, so I found some Unity a Unity plugin that I was able to backport into Monogame. But yeah, so I guess Scorpion Box has a lot of different things stuffed together, but it's all pretty much off the shelf components squeezed into a you know, a single project. Okay, well, I think that's yeah, I think that's a pretty good stream. I think that's yeah, everything went relatively smoothly. I don't really have anything else to talk about unless uh Mixel, was there any questions you had about the number demo? I'm probably going to put the number demo on the Patreon anyway, and then you know, so that will be like for patrons for a week, and then it will be for everyone after that. But yeah, just a quick refresher on the number UI. It is just, we've got an animation with a digit for oh yeah, so basically we've got an animation with a digit, with a frame for each digit, and then we spawn one of these on screen you know, actors for each digit. So we link it to say, okay, well, the first one is digit 0. Oh wow, so Mixel is back from Vienna. And then yeah, so well, yeah, so I will put this on the Patreon, but all you really need to do is with our digits, we extract each of those each of the numbers into a one of those digits on the array. So we clear the array, and then we say, okay, well, while the score is greater than 1,000,000, we add to that digit and we subtract 1,000,000, and then while it's, so that's not 1,000,000, it's 100,000. So while it's greater than 100,000, while it's greater than 10,000, while it's greater than 1,000, so on. And then when we get to the last one, you know, because it's under 10, we can just say, okay, well, the last digit is our score temp. And then all we need to do is say, okay, we set the frame to being from that digit, from that part of the array. Oh, and yeah, so just the reason why we're doing this loop rather than modulus is because we have problems with the modulus on the 68K processor, because it's not really designed for dividing 32-bit numbers. So this way, it, you know, by doing a loop, it will always, you know, it will work with any size number. Okay, well, I think we're exactly on 90 minutes, so I think that's a good place to wrap up. Thanks all for watching. I hope all to see you next week, and let's see who we can. Oh, very welcome, Mouse Bottle. Let's see who we can raid. Who are we following that's on? You know, I want to see what Dalidus is up to, because he's doing Blitz Basic coding. So let's go see Dalidus.